Today I'm bringing everyone a video on this complete cuck, this Sierra Club's Andrew Lionheart, how he explains how Trump's era policies are wrong, and I'm just going to absolutely prove that this moron should have actually switched on a few brain cells and figured out something called math. I mean, this guy has no clue. I'm just going to jump straight into it and get on with it.
Transportation is the largest source of CO2 pollution in America, and Donald Trump and the EPA's Scott Pruitt want to reverse fuel efficiency standards that decrease CO2 and save you money.
That is if you're not paying tax. If you're paying taxes, you'll find that you're paying, well, federally, up to $7,500 for rebates for a plug-in electric car, and that's just federally. Some states are chucking in even more money.
Whether you're walking along a street in a city or stuck in traffic, it's impossible to ignore the pollution streaming out of cars and buses. In fact, just recently, transportation became the largest source of greenhouse gas in America. Across the country, cars and trucks produce nearly 1/3 of our greenhouse gas emissions and more carbon pollution per capita than any other industrialized nation.
It all depends on how you look at it sometimes, doesn't it? Like, you can put it in different metrics. So let's have a quick look at the road transport emissions per capita and have a look. Oh, Luxembourg's doing a really good job of beating everyone else on throwing smog in the world, but no one cares. They're a small country. Then we've got Gibraltar, the Rock. We've got Qatar, of course. We've got Netherlands, but, you know, well, let's not count them. So the United States isn't the highest emitter in the whole world or anything, so it all depends what metric you want to use.
It's clear to everyone but Trump and Pruitt that we must do something to put the brakes on pollution. That's why, in 2012, the Obama administration made history by enacting standards that were intended to nearly double the fuel efficiency of new cars and trucks by 2025.
That sounds quite weird because in reality, the US hasn't got much of a pollution problem. If you look at it at another metric, let's say emissions per US dollar GDP. The US here, sorry it's a bit shoddy looking, it's the best I could find. The US pumps out 0.36, kilograms of carbon dioxide per dollar GDP compared to, let's look at the worst competitor, China. 1.81 kilograms of good old CO2 per US dollar that they make. Second off is the Russia at, what is that, 1.69 kilograms of carbon dioxide per dollar that they make. So, doesn't look like much really has to happen.
These standards, called the CAFE Standards and Greenhouse Gas Program, could limit global warming pollution.
And the ferries could carry you away into this nice little storm out here, supposedly from outer space. Could, would, should, might, whatever. It's either it will or it won't, and I will show you very soon of how it won't, because it is mathematically impossible.
By 6 billion tons, save consumers $1.7 trillion in fuel costs, and reduce oil consumption by up to 4 million barrels every day. These standards aren't only in our best interest, they're also in the auto industries. Since the standards were put in place in 2012,
I don't know who our is, but obviously this fella's not on the Western world side. It lands up to reduce the emissions of cars by 50%. It's not meaning per vehicle. They mean overall by the manufacturer. And the only way to do that is to produce electric cars. And, well, here's an article here saying General Motors co-chief exec blah 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 promises to invest that the Detroit automaker will make money selling electric cars by 2021. Which Barra has not explained in detail as how GM intend to do so. So far, no major automaker has done. No one's ever made money producing an electric car. The answer is a big bet on combining proprietary battery technology, low life cost, flexible vehicle design, and high volume production, mainly in China. Because, you know, China's cool. They don't produce much. Oh, shit. Wait a minute. They're the world's biggest environmental polluter by far.
Car sales have reached record highs. Not only that, a recent poll by the American Lung Association found 65% of voters support keeping these fuel efficiency standards in place.
And there's many reasons for that. One of them being the usual bias that if someone walks up to you and asks you a question you don't know shit about, you're just going to agree with them because that just keeps them off your back. And another one, they don't even give you simplistic information, like the annual emissions per vehicle, pounds of CO2 or equivalent. The electric vehicle itself uses 8,000 pounds of it, well, pumps out, and a conventional gas vehicle pumps out around 13. So to get even an electric vehicle into the range that Obama and his idiotic idea mandates, you'd have to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide used to power an electric vehicle by around a quarter, which of course it's going to be a very long time until we get there.
But Donald Trump and Scott Pruitt are trying to put these standards in reverse. Trump and Pruitt, working with automakers like Ford, who, by the way, stood next to President Obama when he announced the original plan,
are being singled out by these cucks, and there's no good reason for it either, because Ford produced nearly as many EV cars, in other words electric vehicles, as Toyota. They produce virtually the most amount sold in the US. But of course these guys want to belittle Ford because GM, they're talking about taking a lot of their work to China, which suits these globalist assholes.
Are now trying to roll back these vital fuel efficiency standards. By reopening the standards, this administration and Ford are threatening our air quality and risking the release of 6 billion tons of CO2 into our atmosphere. It's obvious they don't care about our health or our climate. They only care about profits. But communities, environmental groups, and health professionals are refusing to let this happen. We are fighting the administration through legal action, grassroots organizing, and communications efforts.
Which is absolutely insane. We've got to organise and fight against this bullshit coming from the left and all of the cucks that fight for them. Here's an interesting fact. Almost half fuel saving in land transport will be undone by planes and ships. And that's by like tons of fuel. We know that the ships and the planes, the fuel they burn, they chug a lot more into the environment than what a car or a truck does. But these cucks don't care. They just want to cuck you. They want to bullshit to you. They want you to buy the lies, the innuendo, all of that crap. So people, it's time to get together, fight this bullshit and say, no, we do not agree. Your math doesn't even stack up. There is no way in the world that you can save 50% of the fuel. You can't do it. You can't. It just won't work. There is no way in the world you can fit Obama's pulled out of his ass 50%. Can't do it. Sorry, Obama, but you're a fuckwit, and so are your cucks. Oh well, that's it for me today. Hope you have a good one. Share this around, and I'm going to come out with many more of these videos in the future, so like, share, subscribe, and we'll fight these bastards.